So, dear friends, we are back again here, and I'm very happy to greet you in this month of June. We have had many good things in this month, and we hope for also some more things that will make us happy, contented, and according to the will of God. Let me first pause at the readings of this weekend, the readings of the 12th Sunday of the ordinary time of the year. The readings are of a different type. We normally have those that soothe us, that comfort us, that give us hope. Surely these readings of today are also the readings that give us hope, but then Jesus is realistic to say that we should not expect everything to be flying, to be everything to be so peaceful that there are no troubles, there are no struggles in life. Christianity is also a struggle. Christianity is also a challenge. So therefore the readings of today perhaps give us an inkling of what Jesus himself went through and what Jesus not promises but expects every Christian and especially his disciples and apostles to face in the world. My reflection today is an inspiration from the Holy Father Pope Francis himself in the allocation that he gave at the general audience on 21st of June 2020. The Gospel that speaks today from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 10, verse 26 to 33, is a part of what's called the missionary discourse of Jesus, where Jesus himself prepares the disciples for future challenges. And so he sends them, as you know, 2 by 2, and the other expectations of his about them. When you are going to preach 2 by 2, don't take anything with you. Do not take your staff, your bag, or perhaps some money, because ultimately what you are going to say depends on the strength of God that you will speak. And so Jesus tells the disciples, fear not. The word fear not is used 2 or 3 times today. Do not fear, because there will be situations in your life which are challenging. Pope Francis says there can be 3 types of fears. The first fear is called the fear of being stifled. That you see something that is a little uncomfortable for you, and therefore you dilute the message. You are not being honest. You sugarcoat everything, and you tell people that everything is okay. You can do this, you can do that, and a sort of a compromise, a sort of a life that we don't really confront in its entirety. There are many of us perhaps who are sugarcoating our message. We are telling the people that everything is okay, but Jesus is the one who tells the truth. What is correct, what is not correct. What is to be done, what is not to be done. What perhaps is dangerous for us, what is devilish, satanic, what we have to avoid, and at the same time, the life everlasting. So therefore, the first danger that the Pope says is what we call the danger of sugarcoating or danger of diluting our message. The second fear is a real fear. That fear that comes through opposition, to confrontation. When you read the first reading of Jeremiah, you see that he has been threatened his life. Do not open your mouth. Do not prophesy. And they almost threaten him with physical harm, with making him run away because he is going to proclaim the truth. A prophet is never accepted, not only in his own country, but also by any people, because his message is strong, his message is forceful. So therefore, Jesus warns his disciples about this danger, the physical danger that you have. And Jesus says, they can touch your body, but they can't touch your spirit. And not only that, the many tribulations that will come at the end times are so many that perhaps they might frighten you. And the third danger is what's called the danger, which is personal, to believe that God has abandoned you, that God doesn't bother you, that you are left on your own. Many a times, many of our spiritual writers mention this. The saints have experienced it. Perhaps they say in the life of Mother Teresa, she also experienced at one time the helplessness. It's like the cry of Jesus at Gethsemane, Father, if it is your will, because I do not want to submit myself to this. And why have you abandoned me? This is the cry of Jesus. This is the cry of the saints. This is the cry of every Christian, that sometimes we feel this desert experience that God has abandoned us. And for all these three dangers or three hostile situations, what is Jesus' answer in the gospel today? Do not fear. Do not fear. Just as he said in the Gospel of Mark at the end, I am with you till the end of the world. So also in today's gospel it says, if God can take care of those sparrows, the little birds, you think God will not take care of you? And what we need is our complete trust in the providence of God. And that is the message today. We will have difficulties, we will have challenges, but blessed is he who trusts in God, who trusts in the power and the might of God. So my dear friends, I leave you with this consoling message. Fear not, God is with us. Emmanuel, the presence of God always to feel in our lives, in our existence. I now take you to a happy, perhaps experience of ours, an event in our Archdiocese, that the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Mr. Siddaramaiah, came to visit the Archbishop's house on 18th of June around 7:30 p.m. and he was there for almost an hour with us. It was he who wanted to visit us. In fact, we had requested that after he took up his chief ministership, we would visit him and to greet him, but then he sent word that he would like to visit us, perhaps to not only to seek our support but also to thank us that he has become a minister, perhaps to some help and support of the Christians who have voted for him, who have perhaps worked for him, and that's why the Chief Minister was keen to say that I would like to pay my homage to all the Christians who have voted for me and who have worked a little more in order that our party comes to power. He was accompanied by Mr. K.J. George, the Minister of Power, by Mr. Zamir Ahmad, who is a minority minister, Mr. Rahim Khan, who is the Municipal Administration Minister, our own MLA, Mr. Rizwan, and also Mr. Govind Raj, who is the Political Secretary, was there. And of course, our own small group of fathers and sisters, the CRI President, the Jesuit Provincial, and our own Vicar Generals were also there. And of course, we exchanged a lot of pleasantries and we placed certain of our demands or rather certain of our requests before the Chief Minister, which he said he will consider. Briefly to say to you, first of all, we expressed our happiness in the attempts of the government to withdraw the anti-conversion bill. The government has already started the process by the cabinet that has already recommended that this bill be withdrawn. Of course, it's still a long way to go. We also requested the Chief Minister to withdraw those cases that have been placed that against the Christians of different denominations as per the provisions of this anti-conversion law. We also requested the Chief Minister for what's called the Christian Minority Development Corporation. We have just now what's called Christian Development Council, where certain grants are given, small amounts are, a few crores are allotted to us, which is used for our churches and our cemeteries, etc. But we said to go to the next level, what's called the Christian Minority Development Corporation, in which body we ourselves can decide the amount that is given by the government, perhaps 1,000 crores or 500 crores. Normally for the corporation a big amount is given, and we are free to decide for what use that we will use it. We will use it for our churches, we will use it for our hospitals, perhaps our education institutions, our hostels, old age homes, so many things that we can do. And the Chief Minister said he would take into consideration our request. We also requested him that there are many Christians who are well educated, who are holding high offices, and who are also in the service departments, who could be given certain other sort of offices, for example, the Legislative Council, the Rajya Sabha, and the Minority Council, the different corporations, and also many of our offices are there, that Christians could also be given these, I would say, not to say that these are plum posts, but important posts where we can exhibit our talent and also give our service to the people. A special mention that we made to the Chief Minister of the problem of our educational institutions. There is one law now, what's called the ceiling, to give the minority status to our institutions. It is given when our schools have 25% of our own students and 50% of the students in our colleges. We explained to the Chief Minister it's not possible. We are just 2% in Karnataka, and how can we expect to have 25% of our students in our institutions of the school level and 50% of the college level? It's not possible. So we told him, please help us to bring it down to the percentage that is commensurating according to the percentage of our own population. Maybe 2 or 3% would be ideal for us. And he said he would consider. We also told him the problem of lands, the different institution lands that are in problem because of the title deeds, because of certain restrictions by the government, certain name changes, etc., which are all roadblocks for us in order to function, because unless these things are regularized, and regularizing is not an easy process. It's a very, very difficult process. So we asked him solutions in order to benefit from the government grants and the government projects. We also spoke to him about our cemetery problems. In Bangalore city, we have cemeteries, but which are full and overfull. And so we requested him certain lands, perhaps a little outside of the city, for our cemetery, for our burial needs, which he said he would consider. I would say it was a very happy experience speaking to the Chief Minister. He's a down-to-earth man. He is very much for the poor. He is straightforward. And as far as we know, he's a good character. And we told the Chief Minister that we will pray for him. It was not important for us whether this party comes or that party comes to power. We are ready to accept any leaders, because our scripture says that authority comes from God. And therefore, whoever comes in authority, we accept them, whichever party, whichever this one. And therefore, now if God has given us this particular Congress party to rule over us, perhaps for the next 5 years, we accept it as God's will, and we pray for the government in power, and also the opposition, so that they can play a responsible role. I now take you to what we call the Feast of Peter and Paul. I suppose you know that Peter and Paul are the pillars of the church. You have to only when you go to Vatican, you can't miss what's called St. Peter's Square, where the Holy Father Pope Francis resides. There's a window there from which he sometimes makes his sermons and proclamations, and the whole square is so beautiful. It's like the mother extending her arms in a very sort of embracing fashion. And you can't miss out 2 big statues there in the piazza, they call it. The statue of St. Peter, statue of St. Paul. And to remind us that these are the 2 pillars of the church. And the church celebrates the feast of St. Peter and Paul on 29th of June, the day assigned to them of their martyrdom. And the 30th of June is all the other martyrs, what's called the Roman martyrs. So 29th we will be celebrating this feast grandly in our cathedral, and I will tell you, perhaps there's another occasion for us to inaugurate what's called the Jubilee of the Incarnation on that day also. So the Mass will be at 5:30 in the cathedral, and I request all of you to participate. And of course, a very happy feast to all those who bear the name of Peter and bear the name of Paul. We have also some churches in our Archdiocese which are named after these saints. For example, the Rayarpuram St. Peter and Paul Church, the Rustumbag St. Peter's Church, and there is also St. Paul's Church. And therefore, these are the places where we have special feasts. But even otherwise, the Peter and Paul are the universal champions of faith, and their feasts are of what we call the first class, or the feast of solemnity in the church. I just referred to you about the Jubilee. Last time I have spoken to you about the Jubilee, the year of the Jubilee. And 2025, the ordinary Jubilee of Incarnation, or the birth of Christ. I have explained to you last time how Jesus was considered to be born in the year 0. It's almost 2025 years that he's born, and the church celebrates every 25 years the Jubilee of the birth of Jesus. All of us remember the great Jubilee that we celebrated in the year 2000. We are arriving at 2025 now, and the sort of a 3-year preparation that we are trying to take ahead. The first year, that's this year, is the year of learning. The second year is a year of praying, 2024, and 2025 is the actual year of the Jubilee, the year of pilgrimages, or the year of hope. And so in every diocese, in every place, we inaugurate this year of preparation for the Jubilee that is coming in 2025. And so we decided that in our Archdiocese, we would inaugurate this preparatory year of the Jubilee on 29th of June, the feast of Peter and Paul. You know, the Peter and Paul represent the church in its entirety, and therefore we said it is very fitting that we inaugurate the Jubilee, the preparation, on this day in the evening Mass, as I said, at 5:30 in the evening. I request all the priests, religious, and also the lay faithful to come and participate in this Jubilee inauguration of the preparatory year. After that, perhaps every church also will take forward this inauguration of the preparatory year of the Jubilee in their own churches. There is an icon that is made, and the theme of the Jubilee year of preparation is also the synodal preparation, that is what's called the communion, participation and mission of the church. So therefore, we will have these posters that are put up in the church, and at the same time remind us that the synodal year is also in progress, and the year of the Jubilee also recollects or collects together all that we have planned for the Jubilee, is also realized in the year of the synod. I wish you a good preparation, and surely in the future we will be telling you how we prepare this year of the learning, as we call it, and in our Archdiocese how we will be studying the Vatican documents. Perhaps the next time I will tell you. I just want to make another reference to what's called the next Sunday. Is also called Laity Sunday. The Laity Sunday comes closer to the date of the martyrdom of Saint John Fisher and Thomas More, and that was the feast today. That is on the 22nd of June, and this feast is specially kept up as the feast of the laity. Why? Because both these gentlemen, Thomas More and John Fisher, were gentlemen, were laity, but then they excelled not only in their laity duties and responsibilities, but they were ready to give their life to the faith also. Both of them die as martyrs, and therefore they are considered as eminent lay persons in the church who are models for the laity. We have also another good news of a laity, perhaps a model that is going to be proposed to us perhaps from next year onwards from India, what we call the saint that has been recently canonized, the Saint of Devasagayam. He is from Tamil Nadu, as we know. He was the minister of the king, And when he received the good news and believed in it, he was ready to sacrifice. He sacrificed his kingly or princely life as a commander and was ready to suffer and die for the faith. And therefore, from next year onwards, perhaps we will be also mentioning Devasagayam as the patron of the laity. So next Sunday, in our churches, we are requesting our priests to celebrate it on the 25th of this month in order to express that the laity have a great role in the church. I would request the parish priest to organize some activity for the laity, perhaps the Catholic Association inauguration or some action-oriented program of the laity in order to stress the participation of the laity at all times in the happenings of the church. The next subject that I would like to take is already known to you, what we call our help and support to the Manipur Christians. I don't think any of you is ignorant of what is happening there. We are getting in our WhatsApp, in our newspapers, of churches, of places, of houses that are being burned. You see only fire there. And it began as an ethnic strife between two tribes, and it has ended up as each one destroying the others, perhaps even Christians fighting among themselves, we do not know. But the target seems to be underground or behind the scenes to annihilate or to trouble the Christian churches and Christian groups that are there. We do not know clearly what is happening since the internet is clamped down. The little news that we get and we read, we are not yet clear that who is at fault. But at the same time, we know that the Christians, churches, places, houses are destroyed, and therefore we ask for mercy and compassion upon them. And for Bangalore, as you know, we have made a special appeal that Bangalore, as I have said earlier, Bangalore is not only IT and BT, Bangalore has a heart for humanity. And therefore we open our arms, open our hearts to those people, those refugees, those who have been displaced from Manipur and have landed in Bangalore, and many more are waiting to come because they don't have house, their houses are burnt. You can imagine, where will they go back to? What will they go and do when they go back? Their schools have been stopped, perhaps even demolished. Their colleges are affected, and there's no education as such, and therefore we have opened our arms and our houses, our institutions to these people from Manipur who will land in Bangalore. Some have already arrived. There are about 40 who have already arrived, and our team of social workers, the Dream India Network, the Jesuits, the BMSS of ours, the other associations, and especially our institutions, education institutions, have already made plans to take them in the school, in the college, whatever capacity, and free education till they finish to a certain extent, to point perhaps when they can go back and start their life once again. We have promised them free education in our schools, colleges, and also free hostel facilities also. And there are some families also who are coming to Bangalore. We can understand they cannot take houses on rent, they don't have the money, and therefore we have requested our religious, our priests, nuns, and also the faithful, if there are some houses that are vacant, if there are some rooms that are vacant, and there are some institutions that are vacant, we can open for them. Surely they won't stay forever, till such time that there is peace and they can return back to their own places. The families can this one. Yesterday I mentioned to our priest, and two priests came and told me, Bishop, there are 2 rooms in my parish. Could I give it to these families? Another priest said, there are 3 rooms just in the campus also. Could I give it? I said, blessed are you that you are opening up not only the other houses, but your own house to these people who are displaced. I also appreciate the great generosity on the part of the religious who have opened their houses, who opened their institutions, who opened their hostels, and have agreed to join this scheme of giving free education to the displaced Manipuri youth and children and their families. We are also putting a request on the web to ask for your support, your money, your perhaps whatever you can give us, because we need to bring up and give things and materials, trainings and information to these our youth who come here. The books to be bought, the government fees to be paid. In some places we would have to make some adjustments of our staying places. And also yesterday we had a meeting and we told the father who is in charge of these migrants, who is a Manipuri priest, a Jesuit priest who is here. We have told him that told us that there are many people who are waiting to come to Bangalore. There are some who could afford, they have come by flight, but there are many more who don't have no money and they are waiting to come to Bangalore. And I said, perhaps we can finance also their train journeys to travel from Manipur, or I am told perhaps from Guwahati to Bangalore, the train journey, and we will also pay their tickets so that they can come to Bangalore. We can't promise them help and support, and they are there, they can't come here. So what's the use of our talking of support if they can't come here? So therefore, in order to make them come here, we have also promised them support of paying for their train tickets. However, or how many they are, we do not know. Perhaps more than 100, 500 or so would be coming to Bangalore. We will be trying to finance their tickets and their stay here also. I appeal to the people in Bangalore, please be generous. We have this account of the BMSS, which is called as a Disaster Management Fund. So therefore, please help us, please give us, and we will also issue the receipts and explain to you how this amount has been utilized for the benefit of the Manipuris.
The Shepherd's Voice, which is being presented by our beloved Archbishop, Most Reverend Dr. Peter Machado, the Archbishop of Bangalore, who takes so much of interest and concern in order to bring the various topics, the contextual aspects, in order to inform, educate, and catechize all of us, the priests, the religious, and faithful of this vast archdiocese. And I'm sure you are enjoying this program, Shepherd's Voice, and I request each one of you to share with your other colleagues, friends, and family and relatives, near and dear ones, so that everyone in this archdiocese can be more closer to listen to the Archbishop on this Shepherd's Voice, the weekly feature. My dear friends, as I've always told, that this is a wonderful platform wherein we can connect to the shepherd of this archdiocese, wherein he brings in the interesting topics in order to increase our devotion and love towards God, and also to know the spiritual matters that concerns our faith. In a very special way, you are most welcome to ask your questions, queries, and you can send them to us at archdblr@gmail.com, and you will also see our mobile number in and through which you can connect with our media center, Ave Studios, and the Archdiocesan Communication Center. Please do write to us your feedback, your opinions. Thank you. Continue to watch and continue to share with others.